Ultras are a little different. You have to just remember that it's between your head. Remember that this is a Dave Horton line too, not even a Karl Meltzer line, but it doesn't always get worse. You can feel like shit at mile 20, but you can come around if you keep yourself, you've got to keep your shit together. And I tell myself that a lot too, is like, just keep your shit together, Karl, and you'll get it done. Running ultras is so much on feel and what your body feels like throughout the race. You can do it. It doesn't matter how fast or slow you are. And that the real heroes of ultra running are not the guys that win all the time. It's the rest of the people. We can all do it. You've got to put it between your ears and just remember that it doesn't always get worse. And just blink and the damn thing will be over. You watch. Well, I'm Speedgoat Karl. This is the RUNEGADE Podcast, and we're glad to have everybody on here. Listen to some of the advice I give. Some of it might be good. Some of it might be not so good. But remember that 100 miles is not that far. Get out there and run and just enjoy your life. And live first and die later.
Welcome to the RUNEGADE Podcast. There are athletes who win races, and there are those quiet, unassuming forces of nature who spend decades rewriting what the rest of us believe is even possible inside the human body and the human spirit. Today's guest is the living embodiment of that second category, Karl Meltzer, the Speedgoat. Karl returns for his second appearance on the podcast. He has more 100-mile wins than any human who's ever laced up a pair of running shoes, and now he's chasing his next dream, 100 100-milers, and he's making huge progress, having completed 6 in the past year. He stood on the podium of every iconic race you can name: Western States, Hard Rock, Wasatch, Leadville. And then he went back and did most of them again, just to make sure the mountain remembered who he was. He set the Appalachian Trail speed record, and yet if you've ever met Karl, you know he's one of the most understated legends you'll ever shake hands with. Ladies and gentlemen, the winningest 100-mile runner in history, the man who's turned suffering into a second language, and the mountains into his personal playground, Karl Speedgoat Meltzer. Welcome back, brother. Let's get into it. Well, gentlemen, tonight we have the Speedgoat joining us.
The goat.
The goat.
This is exciting.
Is everyone enjoying a brew?
Yes, sir.
You know what? I was on the fence, and then I decided I would partake in the as well.
You found the partake.
We've got an IPA. We've got an IPA tonight. How about you, Harv? What do you got?
I'm going with the old school athletic light. You know, I'm trying to watch my figure here.
You can taste the hops.
It's very hoppy. And I'm going with our favorite our favorite Hyena IPA, the
Hyena.
I was going to call it Hyena because you know me and my pronunciation. Hyena, high, non-alcoholic, electrolyte, high.
Oh,
Hyena.
We lost the Harv.
We got to think of a good one, Mark, here. You got one for tonight?
Well, if I had Athletic Brew, I would have. But I didn't prep. But okay, hold on. You got a Hyena. I've got a partake.
You got a Speedgoat.
But we could still hold strong with when you're out with the goat and you've got a dry throat, there's an Athletic Brew for you.
Or a Hyena IPA. When you're the goat, when you're the Speedgoat out running in the mountains and you have a dry throat, head on home to pop a Hyena IPA. And I've gone cross-eyed. I've gone cross-eyed.
When you're walking in the forest and you see a rock and
it was the best of times.
Pick it up.
It was the worst of times.
And then you keep walking. Oh gosh.
Well,
I love
enjoy
that.
a Hyena IPA.
You know what? Enjoy. Yep.
Yeah.
Be found, or you want to be Cena, why don't you go and sip on a Hyena? He's
Karl.
back. Karl,
I am here.
welcome.
Almost my bedtime, guys.
Oh, it is.
Us too.
How are you holding up there, Karl?
It's only late for me. I'm an old man, so I go to bed early. It's all good.
Yeah.
I'm just
What's
joking
your normal
around.
time? What's your normal time that you hit the hay?
Bedtime?
Yeah.
8:30.
Good for you.
I
Well, I guess,
wake
yeah.
up early too, so at the same time, it's it's all relative.
Well, Karl, we are so excited to have you back on the podcast. So, for anyone who doesn't know Karl Speedgoat Meltzer, you have been basically doing ultras since they've been your life since the 90s, right? Did you
Mm-hmm.
branch into it before that? No, I think it's the 90s, right? So, you have covered a lot of
96 was my
ground.
first ultra.
There you go,
Yep.
right? So, Karl, it is an absolute pleasure to have you back on the show.
No pressure at all. Just bring it on.
We had a great time when you were on the first time with us, Karl. It's almost like afterwards, Mark and I were talking about this, and you're like the older brother that we either didn't have or we had, but not as cool. So you're much more cooler than our older brothers. That's why we like to get your view on running and life, and you've seen a lot on the trails. But one thing that's really been on our mind is you've conquered all those hard races, the FKTs, and that demands something like primal, something like deep down inside of us. What is it that you found out about yourself that keeps you going during these big events from that urge we all get to quit? And how does that shape your life?
Well, I think running has definitely shaped my life. I think, it's kind of funny. I love golf too, and this is kind of a little bit unrelated, but watching an interview with you probably didn't see it, but with Lee Trevino this weekend, they asked him about what has golf done for you? Sort of the same question you're asking me, and he's like, golf is my life. I love it. I live it. I am it's what I do, and it wasn't really about discovering, oh, I can make money at this. I can make a living at it. It's what I do, like I don't know how to stop. I mean, I'm 58. I just turned 58, so I mean, I'm turning into this old man slowly. And in the afternoon, after I played golf today, funny, but I come home and I'm achy and I'm sore, but I got to get up in the morning. I want to go run. It's in my blood. I think anyone who loves a sport, it doesn't matter what sport it is. If it's in your blood, you don't know how to stop, and I don't know what it means to quit. And that might translate into whether it's a 100-mile race or the AT or just a 5-mile run around the house. The satisfaction of doing it is what makes me happy. And sometimes it's always hard. It's difficult, but I don't know. It's just in my blood, man. I just don't know how to stop. And I think, I have this goal of reaching 100 hundreds, and I'm at 92 now, so I'm getting close. And many people have asked me, well, what are you going to do when you hit 100? I'm like, my answer is like, well, I'm done. But I mean, I think that remains to be seen. I really don't know what's going to happen when that day comes. Chances are I'm still going to run. I'm still going to love being out in the mountains and that kind of thing. But there's no pressure on me there's never really pressure on me, but there's no pressure on me to do something bigger, or go further. I've always sort of, in my entire career, like I said, my first ultra was 96. So I'm now, almost 30 years into it. And I don't know how to stop. But now, in 96, 97, I looked up, 2020 is a long ways away. And here I am, 2025, almost 26. And I'm like, well, what do I do when I stop? I don't know. Just want to enjoy life now at this point and not worry about the pressure of racing and stuff like that. I'm psyched that Hoka gave me 2 more years to see me get to 100. I mean, that's a big thing, because if they would have said, well, Karl, you're too old and slow now, you're done, when they wouldn't say it that way, but you know what I mean? Like, hey, the career's over, whatever. I'm not sure where I would have gone with that, but I'm really psyched that my companies that I've run for, my partners, my sponsors, whatever you want to call it, stood behind me. That's really, really huge. And, I've said it a lot of times, that being 58 years old and to be a sponsored or a partnered runner is pretty rare, right? It's got to be rare, right? So I'm just honored to be able to keep doing it. Man, I just love doing it. I love being out in the mountains. I love looking around and and just doing my thing. And it's never going to end. The career, the pro career is going to end eventually, but I don't know. It's in my blood, man. I don't know how to stop.
Renegade is proud to be sponsored by Thrive Protein. We love sharing what works for us. Power your runs and feel your endurance with Thrive Protein, the premier plant-based supplement brand crafted for endurance athletes. They offer high-quality vegan protein powders, whey, super greens, and electrolytes and creatine. Thrive's clean Ontario-made products fuel your body with natural ingredients with no artificial fillers, designed to boost recovery, enhance endurance, and keep you strong on the trails, the roads, or wherever your endurance adventure takes you. Thrive is perfect for every athlete chasing their big goals. Visit thriveprotein.ca and use the code RUNEGADE for 20% off your order. Thrive Protein. Fuel your relentless pursuit of adventure.
Can't stop, won't stop, right? And that's it. I mean, Karl,
Yeah.
you are the king of the 100-milers. Like, that's over 50 wins. And racing's not the only thing that you do. You're a coach, you're a race director, so of the Speedgoat 50K. And but you're still grinding these hundreds like it's no big deal. So since your last visit, I know you've had a lot on the go. Was it six different races that you did this past year? Is that right?
Yeah. Was it 6? I said 6 or 7. I had a little. Let's see. It was Coldwater, love it. I don't even remember anymore.
Leona Divide, Scout.
Yeah, thank you. Leona Divide, and then we were at. I meant to go to Cascade Crest, but we had an issue with my dog, and I wasn't unable to attend that. But then I went to I Am Tough, which is a fabulous race in Idaho, and then this last one was just once again I've done Devil Dog for the third time. I almost won Devil Dog. I was in it. And what my intention when I went there wasn't really to try to win. It was just just get another one done, Karl, get 92. But we had an issue, it was kind of the year of the dog issues. My younger dog was attacked in July, and that's a whole nother story. And then with Devil Dog, I was to meet my wife there. She was going to crew me, run the race, but a friend of mine was watching our dogs here in Colorado, and my older dog, who's 13 years, 8 months, so she's pretty old, she had an episode. She's okay, so we're just going to leave it at that, but she could have been worse, and that kind of changed everything, where my wife flew home from the East Coast. I went to the race. My sister ended up crewing me from New Hampshire, and so she drove down to Virginia, and during the race, I pulled into the lead at mile 38, and kind of unintentionally, just kind of happened. And, clearly I'm in the lead. So when you're in the lead of any race, you're always kind of running scared in the front. So I'm running along, and I'm running scared. I was doing really well, and I was moving along fine. And when I got to mile 94, or let's say it was about mile 55 or 56, one guy passed me, and he had a 100-mile bib number on. And I was like, huh. The guy kind of bounced by. He was looking good, looking strong. My sister says, oh, no, you're in the lead. You're 20 minutes ahead, whatever. It's all good. When I get to mile 94, she's like, oh, I made a mistake. You're in second. And I was like, Again, not the end of the world, because my intention was to finish the race. But when I knew that, I was like, oh, that's that guy. That guy passed me. And so at that point, I was like, well, I was 23 minutes off the lead at mile 94, which at the time I was so sore. Walking over like a stick was difficult. My quads were so sore. And I was like, I'm walking in. I don't care. I'm walking. So I walked it in, and the guy ended up beating me by over an hour. But that was my chance to win 23 years in a row, and I didn't win. So so that streak ended, right? But that's okay. My goal was to finish, and the goal was to fit 100 hundreds. But I was close. I'm glad I gave it a good effort. And running scared at the front actually probably made me run a little faster, because for obvious reasons. But and some people say, "Oh my God, your streak's over." I'm like, well, I made a post on Facebook. So like, well, now we can sit back and see if anyone can break it. And I don't know if that one's going anywhere anytime soon. Chances are I'll be dead when that one, if or when it gets broken, because I don't think the runners these days really, nobody thinks about 22 years in a row of a streak of anything, whether it's a baseball hitting streak or whatever, it's a bummer that I didn't get that, but at the same time, all good things come to an end, right? So, but it's been a good year other than dog issues, but my dogs are both still good. So to me, that's more important, because those two, they're my kids, right? Yeah. So I'm psyched that they're okay. So everything worked out pretty well this year, and I'm not injured, right? So I can move on to the next race the next race is January 17th at Coldwater one more time.
Well, I'm glad to hear that the dogs are doing good.
Mm. Oh, I was going to say, do you think, just going to that story that you just said, do you think if you were not told that you were in second, you would have finished that race a little different? I'm just trying to get into your mind. Like, did it play a game with your brain? Like, I'm not in first anymore. I got to slow down.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, right. So when I got to that aid station at mile 94, all Devil Dog is generally a pretty easy course, but the last 6 miles, it's pretty flat. It's not hard. And if I was still in belief that I was in the front, number one, I would have taken 2 more ibuprofen. It's okay.
Secrets revealed.
If you don't overdo it, it's okay. I totally would have done that, and it would have kicked in about 20 minutes, and I would have felt a little bit, it just takes the edge off a little. It would have, I definitely would have pushed harder. There's no question about it. But when I came into that spot at 94 and I was told that, and I seriously, I was so, it's one of those things where you're so sore, like if you don't take the edge off, it's easy to walk, but to run was difficult. And the state that I was in, to hear that news was, it was a little bit of a bummer. But when my sister told me that, I was like, oh, cool, I can just walk now, because I was so sore. It would have been different. If I would have still felt that I was in the front, I probably would have, or I certainly would have given it everything that I had, because I knew what was on the line, I mean, I said to my sister, even my sister, I said to her after, it's a 5-lap race, when I was at about mile 81 before the last lap, and I said, yes, I'm like, thinking I was in the lead at the time. I'm like, this is a pretty significant, pretty significant. So I pushed after 81 to the next aid station. That split to that aid station was pretty reasonable for mile 80 to 81 to 87 or something. And then still thinking I'm in the lead. My next split I was jogging just about everything. I was still, working it. And then you get hit on the head to say, well, you're not in the lead. Yeah, there's no question that works with your mind. There was 2 pieces of it. I was relieved that I didn't have to push, in a sense. But yeah, if I still thought I was in the lead, I would have still done everything that I could to go as fast as I could. And I think if you think about it too, it's funny because 6 miles, right? Not that far, pretty easy leg. The leader ran that leg in about an hour, 20 minutes. So that's not real fast. It's, 13-minute miles, 14-minute miles, not real fast. But that's kind of what I was doing too, along when he was in the lead. That's about the time that I was running that leg. That leg took me over 2 hours walking. And when I walked, I started to get cold because it was like 30 degrees. It had snowed the night before, so it was kind of a cold race. Yeah. And I'm better with the cold than the heat, but it was cold. And I'm like, I was going just fast enough to stay warm enough till I got to the finish. And when I finally got to the finish, my sister did have my down jacket and stuff there. And I'm like, we need to go in the building to get where it's warmer. So I went into a building where it was warmer. And then this has happened a number of times with me, and I'm sure with other runners too, is that you get the shakes of depletion where you finish and you just like, like you can't, she's like, are you cold? I'm like, I'm not cold. I know what's wrong. I just need sugar. I'm like, get me sugar. And we're in the building, and there was a kitchen back there. It's like a scout camp kind of place. And I said, I need sugar. And they said, I'm like, get me some orange juice. So my sister goes over to get orange juice, and they're like, well, it's unsweetened orange juice. I'm like, what is that? That's no good. I'm like, get me something else. Get me some other sugar. And eventually, and a long story short, is 20 minutes later, the shakes went away. And then I was like, okay. I mean, I know what's wrong with me when that's happening. So it's not like I don't know how to fix it. And I did fix it within 20 minutes or so. But, my sister hadn't seen that before. When you're just sitting there going, that's, in a sense, to her, it was a little scary. But me, I was just like, just feed me sugar. And eventually they had Coca-Cola Zero, which is no sugar. That's no good too. So word to the wise, the devil dog, put some sugar at the finish line. But yeah, I mean, it's racing. It's how it is. And I don't expect to win again. I'm not going to win Coldwater. I'm not going to win Levitt. But that's okay. I enjoy being out there. Like I said before, like, why do you keep doing it? So it's in my blood. And this, we'll see what happens again. Like I said, after I finish 100 of them, we'll see where I go with it from there. Hopefully I'll just play even more golf than I've been playing. I've been playing a lot of golf. So, that's kind of my retirement sport.
Well, Karl, going back to your story there and your experience, finishing an ultra, it can be painful. Absolutely. What's the next day like for you, and the next week like for you? How has it changed, and how has it stayed the same since you were a younger professional runner?
I don't think anything's really different. I really technically lost a toenail from running for 15 years probably.
Seriously.
But that's just because I'm not wearing tight shoes. I have more room in my shoes, So that's just like an experience thing. My feet are fine. There's no blisters. There's no toenails. There's no issues with me ever. That's not a problem.
That's why.
After this particular race, I did drive to the East Coast. So when I finished the race, I finished about 2 a.m. I was back in my hotel at 4. I took a shower. I went to sleep, which I didn't even really sleep. I woke up at about, or call it waking up, at about 10:30. I got my crap together at the room, jumped in my car, and started driving back to Colorado. And I drove 4 hours I drove 4 hours. I was getting kind of tired, so I pulled over and I took a nap. I set my alarm for about 4:30. It was about 3 o'clock. I set my alarm for 4:30. I set my alarm, and all of a sudden, bing, the alarm went off. I was like, oh, I guess I was sleepy. And then I woke up, drove 2 more hours, got a hotel room. And then I woke up at 4 a.m. and I drove 18 straight hours to almost the border of New Mexico. It was in Texas, but I was close to New Mexico. So I drove 18 hours after the race. And then I slept in my car at a truck stop. And then I drove the last 9 hours home. And that's pretty unusual for anyone. But getting back to the actual question, but typically what I do is after a race, I'll sleep, and then I'll move around a little bit. I'll eat as much as I'm always hungry, so I'll chow down as much as whatever I want to eat. And I've said before that fried chicken is like my favorite after race meal, because it's just dense, fat calories. But for about a week, I didn't go for a jog until I didn't do anything. I mean, I work in my yard, move around and do stuff, so I'm constantly moving. But on Monday, I played golf. So I walked 18 holes, which was 6 miles or so. And Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, this is the second week, I went 5-5-5, 7-5-7. And then I played golf again. I played golf again today. And walked 7 miles. So that's when my recovery is usually I come back very slowly. When I was younger, I would probably, if the race was on a Saturday or even a Friday, I'd probably be running again by Tuesday. But when I'm older now, I just can't recover. I just don't want to run by Tuesday. I'm like, no way. I'll just, I'll go for a walk with my dogs or something. But I think the key to recovery is eating. It's protein. It's calories. but moving is the most important thing, because if you sit still, it feels great, right? When you're on the couch, you're laying there, you don't have to move. You have a beer or two, and it's like, cool, I don't have to move, but the movement is the best thing more than anything, because your muscles, I mean, I'm no doctor here, but your muscles, you want to keep moving before the stiffness comes back. Like, I'll move for 20 minutes, I'll sit down for 20 or 30 minutes, or neither an hour and a half, but then I'll move again. And that seems to be the best way for me to recover the fastest, instead of trying to get right back at it real fast. I mean, now I'm looking at 3.5 weeks before my next 100, right? I mean, that's pretty quick turnover. And will I go for a long run before that 100? My long run's probably going to be like 12 miles. But I don't have to build up to it. You know, I'm like, I built up to it for 30 years. I don't need to build up to it. I just need to be consistent. Don't run too far each day where that 7-miler or 10-miler puts me down for a couple days where I can't recover from that run. Each day I go out now, I want to be able to wake up the next morning and say, okay, I can go for a run today. You know, I mean, when like I said, I walked and played golf today. I ran 5 this morning, just easy 5 miles. I mean, I was 55 minutes. It was pretty slow. I mean, I'm at 8,000 feet, so it's a little slower here. But for me, I think one of the major reasons for my success in all of my career is that I don't try to come back way too fast. And I don't think I need to run I don't need to go out and run a 23-miler before cold water in 3.5 weeks. What is that going to do for me? It's just going to put me in the back seat again for a week where I'm sore or whatever. And, like, again, I'm 58. So, you guys will get this eventually, but I know you guys aren't 58 yet, but it'll come to you and you'll be like, wow, like, well, you're not supposed to catch me. The idea is just to keep moving and not overdo it. Yeah, hopefully you'll never catch me, right? But that's the secret. If there's a secret to the sauce, that's my secret sauce, is not overdoing it after a race too quickly.
And when you do come back, when you're on that 5-miler and that 7-miler, now you're taking a week off. I'm with you. I've been trying this more this year. I'm 48 this year. Do you find that there's always the one part of your body that's just giving you problems, that it's always, after 100-miler, it's like, oh, your calf or your hip, or is there something?
Well, I think that's the trick. The trick to it is to realize that, say you're out on a run, like say I went out 5 this morning, and like, let's pretend that my calf was getting tight and bothering me or something. And today I felt fine, but at the same time, if it starts to bother me and is that twinge, like, oh, it's a little tight, first thing I'll do is stop and I'll walk. And it's like, oh, maybe something's going wrong. But the idea is to not finish the run thinking, oh, I had to push through that soreness in my calf, or I had to push through that quad soreness or my knee or whatever, because it's, number one, pushing through it at that point is not going to make you faster for the next race, right? It's not going to do you any favors by making something hurt when you're in recovery mode. I mean, nowadays, like, recovery mode takes me like 3 or 4 weeks to recover. But the point is, like, now when I go on that 5-mile run in the morning, like tomorrow I'm going to probably run 7 or 8 or something, but I'll play that if I feel. The first mile, I walk, jog. I don't run that first whole mile. I basically run to the end of my driveway, which is about 1/10 of a mile long. And then I walk up the hill. I'll jog about 2/10 of a mile, and I'll walk for another 1/10 of a mile or two. And then I kind of get going and I'll run. But I play that all on feel. If I'm not feeling it, something feels a little off, I'll walk and say, don't worry about it, Karl, because your base is so deep, it doesn't even matter, To me, it doesn't even matter. But that's, to me, I just don't want pushing through something when you're not recovered, to me, is one of the most foolish things you can do, especially when you're trying to do all these hundreds, it's like, and when you're older. Yeah. So I just really, really, really play it on feel on how my recovery is going. And clearly it's been working fairly well, because I haven't really had an injury. I've had some issues here and there, but generally speaking, I haven't had a real running injury in quite a long time. And all these little aches and pains that I have occasionally, if it's not related to like a running thing, like in there's days I'll go out there and run, and all of a sudden my knee will be like, oh my God, it hurts. I can't even walk on it. Then I'll walk it off for 150 yards, and all of a sudden it'll just go away. So I kind of look at those kind of things. When those things happen, I just walk them off. And, you know, if I have to walk that whole 5-mile loop, I will, because it's just the discipline of being older and being experienced that I know that running isn't going to do me any favors. You know, the mental aspect I have to finish hundreds is, my mental part of it is like, especially now getting close to 100 of them, is like, I'm not going to bail out now unless I can't move, you know, unless I actually can't do it. But I'm not bailing out now, because every time I bail out, I got to do another one. And that's getting harder and harder. So you got to really listen to your body a lot. There's so much science out there now that, you know, everyone's throwing. There's so many coaches. There's so much science. There's so much high carb, low carb. There's so many things. But I'm an old school grump, and I've kind of learned how to listen to myself, and I've been successful because I really listen to what my body tells me to do, I guess. That's the best way to put it.
So you're suffering, you're running, and you're at the 80-mile mark. And all of a sudden you get in there and you're just in pain. What portion of that do you think is mental, and what portion do you think is physical?
I think when you're out there suffering, you're late in a race. You know, I've done so many of them. I'm like, Karl, just blink. It will be over. It's like driving 18 hours, right? Like, I'm like, just blink, dude. It'll be over. Because say it might be 10 o'clock at night when I'm at mile 80 or something like that. And yeah, 20 miles is far when you're sore and you're tired and all that. But you can always, like, I'm still fast enough where I'm not chasing a cutoff, right? So, and I'm lucky to be at that point. But if I'm not chasing a cutoff and I'm trying to finish these hundreds, all I got to say is just blink, Karl, and you'll be done, you know. And Devil Dog, the last race I ran, being a 5-looper, what's kind of crazy is that doing the first loop, and I've run the race a few times, so I'm very familiar with the loop, right? So like when I come around the loop, there's the one hill section here, you go across here, and there's the next section here. But each lap that I come around, I say to myself, oh, I'll be here, I'll just blink and I'll be back at this hill again. And you know what? I blink and I'm there again, and in lap 2, then lap 3, then lap 4. And it's like, it's over, you know? Like, life goes fast, you know? And like I said, 96, I said, when 2000 so far away, but I've just blinked and I've gone 30 years of doing this. And so I can relate to that in the same sense of just one race. It only takes 30, you know, I think the cutoff was 32 hours at Devil Dog, I think. And, you know, when we start the race and you're going through the first lap, like, well, you know, I'll be done tomorrow at this time. So just keep moving, man. Just shut up. Don't be a pussy. Just do it and just get it over with, you know? And, I mean, it's hard to tell someone when they're doing their first 100 that, because they haven't, you know, experienced that factor of like, well, it's only 24 hours or 36 hours. It's going to be over before you know it. But every one time someone drops out, whether it's their first or 10th or 30th 100 or whatever, they're bummed because they know they probably could have kept going unless they were cut. You know, well, injuries are one thing. That's kind of another story. But if you're not injured, you can keep going. It's just all so much in your head that, and it's hard to teach someone that until they actually do it. And that's, you know, and being a coach for a long time, and there's so many coaches out there. There's so many great coaches that know what they're doing, and more than I do from the technical aspect of having degrees and all that. But it's between your ears is so important that if you don't have that between your ears, you're missing out on. I mean, that's where it all matters, you know. And golf is the same way. I mean, I'm a pretty good golfer. I'm like a 6 handicap. So today I shot 76, pretty good, you know. But that game is the same thing. It's in your head. When you have a good golf swing, and you know you can hit a really good shot, but then someone gets in your head, hey, you know, don't yank it left or whatever. that shit is between your ears. And running's the same way. To me, anyway, it's the same way. If you just put in your head that this will be over, I will blink and it will be over, you can get it done. And it's always possible. And, you know, again, other than injuries, it's always possible for people to get it done if you're not fighting the cutoff.
If you quit a 100-miler or any race and you go home and you sleep for a couple hours, you regret it and you say,
Every time.
why didn't I stay on that course? Because I've
Right.
done it. I've done it a few times. I've done
Yeah.
it a few times, and I kicked myself. Like, I could have just took a little rest. I could have
Yeah.
got back out there. So I'll confirm on my end that that's 100% runners will do that.
You know, I've seen a great example of that. I mean, I don't usually use people as examples, but Anton Krupicka, one of the best runners we've ever seen in the United States, right? Fantastic runner, great, fast, all that. But I remember one Leadville when I was just a spectator, and Anton was running. He was in the lead, and he's about at mile 75, and he was not doing. He started to blow up and stuff, and he got slow, and he was really, really, really sore. He ended up dropping at 75, and I don't want to use him as an example, but the next day I saw him running in Leadville, jogging in Leadville. You know, if he was that sore in the race and couldn't move forward at mile 75 to even just walk it in, then why was he jogging the next day, you know? And you know he regretted it later, you know? So sometimes when those great runners, Matt Carpenter of Leadville is a great example of a no-quit attitude. When he first ran Leadville the very first time, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Matt was one of the greatest, fastest runners ever. And he was smoking it way ahead of the pace, but his quads blew up at like mile 75 or 80. But that guy walked it in. And because he had a no quit attitude, and you know, he finished in 10th or 20th or whatever place he finished in. He was one of the greatest guys of no quit, you know, or it's between your ears. And then the next year he came back and he broke the record because I'm going to do better and get better, and that's what he did. And he was really, really strong mentally. It's the mental aspect that makes some of the greatest runners who they are, because you know, when Walmsley goes and wins UTMB, he had to like keep pushing the envelope at the very end. When Killian won and beat Blanchard, he soars all hell, but he had to keep pushing it. The mental aspect is right there between his ears. And that's what makes great champions. Is it's not just their physical abilities, it's their mental power, you know? It's like all those guys, the road marathon guys that go so fast these days, like their mental power has got to be, I mean, it's got to be sore at some point. I mean, the marathoners are only running 2 hours now for a marathon, but you've got to have it between your ears to really be good at this sport.
Runners, your gear is holding you back. If you're struggling with chafing, useless pockets, and materials that feel too technical and just don't keep up with your training, let me introduce you to Path Projects, offering a complete line of gear and apparel built by runners, for runners, and today's modern endurance athletes that want to perform, train hard, and look damn good doing it. Say goodbye to chafing with Path's independent suspension design. They've separated the baseliner from the short, virtually eliminating all the rubbing and movement that traditional running shorts have. A simple design feature that makes all the difference. Less movement plus performance fabrics equals no burn, no chafing, no hot shower screams. My all-time Path favorite, their best-selling Graves PX running short, built with Toray Prime Flex, has a great feel while being extremely durable and has an unbelievable amount of storage. I've been able to carry gels, my iPhone, my car keys, and even hang a clip-on water bottle off the waist. And they're built to last. Path's Tahoe CL baseliners offer an all-season performance. The cool light mesh is for the extremists. A bird's eye mesh fabric that is ultra light, super wicking, and insanely breathable. Comfort means everything. And they offer personalized performance. With Path baseliners, you have the choice of 2 fabrics and 4 lengths, 3, 5, 8-inch, and full length, which allows you to dial in a baseliner based on the current weather condition and your personal preference. And with the Path's Graves PX shorts, you have the choice of 2 fits, classic and relax, and 2 lengths, which give you the flexibility to match your short to the effort. With the right gear from Path, you can focus on your effort and getting after. Check them out, pathprojects.com, and you can use the code TRP10 10 for 10% off your order for a limited time. Karl, you shared something earlier this summer, and I think it was right around Western states. There's a thing I've seen lately is the professional runners are putting lots of pressure on themselves. And I think you shared something on Twitter. You said putting pressure on yourself very rarely ever works out. I think that speaks to the mental aspect. It's already really hard what you're going to do. And if you're putting extra pressure on you, your brain just might make you quit a little bit sooner. Did you used to put a lot pressure on yourself when you were younger? And, or were you always kind of like the cool Karl?
Well, I was always tried to be the cool Karl. I think when I was younger, I put a little pressure on myself. And mostly it was at Hard Rock because, I remember cutting a little Target out of the store Target. They have, their logo. And I remember cutting it out and putting it on my back. I pinned it on my back and I had a Target on my back, right? Silly things. But that what you're mentioning earlier is I saw David Roche. I got to call him out on this now because you're talking about it, but he, his training is heat training. The guy is an amazing runner. There's no question about it. And it does not surprise me that he's done what he's done over the last couple of years. He is fantastic. A great person too, and willing to help anybody, but he put all the weight on his back going into Western, right? And, the heat training, the workouts, the treadmill, all the stuff. And did you hear anything about Caleb Olson before the race? I didn't. I mean, I don't search everything, don't get me wrong, but he just kind of laid low and did his thing. And the guy runs 14:11, right? But I mean, in his head, I'm sure he had pressure knowing that he could hang with the best there, but he didn't put it out to, at least I didn't see it as much, to social media like David did. And David put all the pressure on himself to perform. And, Walmsley's done that before too and not succeeded. And a lot of runners have done that in the past. I mean, I can name some runners in the past. Nate McDowell at Western States. You guys may not even remember him. He was fast as shit in the early 2000s. And Nate put it out there when he ran Western. He dropped at Michigan Bluff. Scott Jurek put it out there in some of his later runs, 24-hour stuff. He put it out there and break the record, and he failed. I think when you put pressure on yourself, especially if you don't have a lot of races before, you put this pressure on yourself, and it's like, it's so much easier to fail because, I don't know, it's easy to walk away like, oh, I didn't have my day, I walked away, but it's hard to put pressure on yourself and actually succeed. I mean, Tiger Woods is a great example. That guy, I mean, being the greatest golfer ever, he always put pressure on himself too. A lot of times he succeeded because he's so good, but guys going to the Masters, Jordan Spieth, Mac, all those guys. I mean, I talk golf a lot because I play a lot of golf, but it's sort of the same thing. These guys, they expect to play so well, they expect to run so well, but I like, my thing was always to lay low and not do all these interviews. And it's funny with mentioning pressure with UTMB, they have the press conferences now and all these press things beforehand and they ask questions. And, I don't think we've seen Kylian Jornet get in front of the camera all that much before his wins at UTMB. He sort of, at least in my opinion, he sort of felt like he laid low a little bit. First time I ran West UTMB was myself, Scott Jurek, Hal Kerner, all three of us were there. And we had to predict our time, what we're going to do. And that put pressure on us. We all failed. Scott bailed early. Hal bailed early. I had a chance, but then I blew up. So the pressure got to all of us there, I don't like pressure. I like to just lay low and hang back and just be the guy in the background and I'll catch you guys later, For me anyway, if it's a secret to my success, it's been to not put myself out there. And when I was running my best in the 2000s to 2013 or 14 or so, social media was different. So we weren't out there everywhere. We were hoping to see our name in Ultra Running magazine, but nowadays it's like, it's tough to not be on social media and put yourself out there. I mean, I think David knew that. David put himself out there. He didn't succeed. Then he came back and did succeed, but I think he learned from that a little bit, from my silly comments. And again, it's just stupid social media, but it's my silly comments. I think hopefully it'll make him even a better performer, because he's as fast as anybody, you know. He's a great runner, and I think he's got a lot ahead of him, to a lot of success ahead of him. But laying low has always been better to me anyway.
And so Todd mentioned Cool Karl, and we know we have, you know, the Speedgoat. Do you think there's room in golf for the golf goat? And I know you mentioned Tiger Woods already, but just hear me out. I mean, 18 holes, I mean, anyone can do 18 holes, but what about 72 holes, or, you know, 144 holes? What about like ultra golf? Do you think there's room in the world for Speedgoat Karl to do ultra golf?
Well, you know, I held the record for most holes played in 12 hours, right?
I didn't know that. Serious? Oh, geez.
Okay, well,
I should have done my research.
I'll be quick with this one.
Carl's coming on a third podcast.
Better pay attention, gentlemen. So I was invited. I'll be quick, but I was invited to playing the Speed Golf World Championships at Bandon Dunes. Bandon Dunes is a fantastic golf course in Oregon. It's a very popular place. It's an amazing place. And I was invited there because some guy knew that I liked to play golf and I was a runner. And so when you play that speed golf, you play 18 holes and you play as fast as you can, and you shoot, you know, obviously the lowest score you can, right? You add your time, you add your score, and you come up with a total score. Okay, so I'm like, speed golf, I don't know, you know, but when I'm like, Bandon Dunes, yeah, I'm in, because Bandon's this amazing golf course. And I went and played, and Bernard Lagat and Nick Willis, if you know those names from track running, you know, Bernard Lagat, I mean, legend. Nick Willis, too, 20 years in a row, breaking a 4-minute mile. Nick's a good player. Bernard's terrible, but we went and played, and I played 18 holes in, I shot 89 in 52 minutes, and I shot 88 in 56 minutes. That's for 18 holes, you know. So when we did that, we played. It's pretty fast. But anyway, it's crazy, right? The guys that won shot even par in like 40 minutes, which is insane. But going forward, the 236 holes, this was the charity event we did in Napa Valley. The same guy that got me into the speed golf, Tim Scott, who played on like the web.com tour back in the day. We played at Napa Valley Golf Course. This was just a charity thing. We raised money for ocular melanoma, which was, Tim had that with him. But so I played 236 holes in 12 hours. So what I did, so each round I averaged 56 minutes per round. And what I shot didn't matter. A couple of rounds I probably shot in the 80s, but mostly I shot probably 85 to 100. But yeah, I played 236 holes. That was the world record at the time. Someone's broken it. But yeah, I have a little history playing fast golf. But it's you run along and you play with like 4 clubs. You know, you play like, it's like, I think I played with like my 5-wood putter, 6-iron wedge or something. And my wife crewed me in the cart. The cart died after 4 rounds. She got stuck. But
what lasted the cart?
yeah, I've got a little history playing fast golf. My best score was 82 in 48 minutes. That was my best. That was in Oregon on a different course.
How many beers did you have in those 236 holes? How many pops were there?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any beers. I had beers afterwards, but no, not too many beers on those. But that was like, it was really cool because we were able to like, raise money for, you know, a real charity and stuff like that, and be able to have this golf course to ourselves. I think there was only 10 of us that played, so we staggered every like. They knew I was going to be the fastest one overall, so I started first. So I got ahead of everyone, you know, and then eventually I lapped people. But to have the golf course fight to yourself like that was pretty cool, you know. That was a fun event. I mean, who gets to do that, right? Who did that?
It's amazing. That's
pretty fun
amazing, but
stuff.
I'm not surprised, though. I mean, of course, it fits for you. That's great. Good for you.
You got to hit it pretty good.
Beers.
You got to hit it pretty good to you got to hit it straight, you know, and you can't just roll the ball down the fairway to shoot 82. I mean, And when you stand over the ball, you're standing there for just a second, boom, you go again, and you're running down the fairway before that ball is even landed. You know, I mean, you're motoring. She basically over the course of that 236 holes, I think I ran a total of like maybe 67 miles or something. My hands were cramping after 6 rounds. My fingers were just like, I couldn't even open my hands because my hands were cramping so much, you know? So that was a different dynamic. But
You can't
anyway,
just blink
super
through
fun,
that, right?
super fun times
Yeah.
I got to do from running.
Did you have like hot dog aid stations or what?
My wife was crewing me out of the cart, so she was next to me. So she had just standard ultra stuff. I mean, pineapple is like one of my favorite things, just regular ultra stuff. But you don't really grab a hot dog at the turn like you normally would now.
You mentioned something a bit ago. You described yourself as an old school grump. And I think that's just the savviness after years and thousands of miles on the trail. If you had a Mount Rushmore and you're on Mount Rushmore, who's on there with you, Karl?
Boy, that's a really good question. I've never had that question before. And you gotta put. I think you gotta put Jurek on it because he's sort of like his whole run at Western started in '99 7 times. I mean, he's also more popular on social media now. I think he would have to be there. I think we have to bring back one of the old guys, like well before my time. God, who that would be? A guy named, I don't know if you remember a guy named Park Barner.
No,
So this is pretty old stuff, but this was in the 70s and early 80s. He was one of the sort of guys that sort of pioneered ultra running in long distances, Park Barner. And I think we have to put Dean Karnassus on it too. Because, Dean wasn't the fastest runner out there, but Dean did a ton for the sport. When he wrote his book, The Ultramarathon Man, the guy was on Letterman, right? And when Letterman was so popular, this ultra runner guy writes his book about, running 300 miles on a pieces of pizza or whatever the hell he was doing. I think, I know that Scott doesn't love Dean that much, but maybe you don't put him next to him, you put him on the far side. But I think Dean brought the sport a little bit more mainstream. I mean, we didn't have internet when Dean was doing his thing, but I think he'd be really popular. So Dean, Scott, myself, and again, Park Barner's sort of a name thrown out there because there were other guys. Stu Middleman was another guy. Like, you might want to put a woman on. I mean, putting a woman on there might actually be a good idea too, and that would be Ann Trayson for sure. Ann Trayson. I mean, maybe even you might even take Park Barner off and put Ann Trayson on it. Because what Ann did in the sport, her records, some of her records are probably still out there, and Ann's in her. Ann's about the same age as I am, and what she did in the sport, especially from a woman's perspective, she was running with the men. She almost won Leadville. She was running 7 hours for 100K. She was doing things that women were at the time weren't even close to. So I think Ann Trayson deserves to be on there too. And do I deserve it? I don't know, because like in my career, I felt that, it's weird to say this, but I don't feel like I've gotten all the respect that I've deserved sometimes. And maybe now I have this amazing record and all that stuff, but a lot of times, like when I won Ultra Runner of the Year in 2006, I won 600 milers that year. I won 4 in 8 weeks. I broke records. It was an amazing year for me. And the person that was behind me by only 2 votes was Scott Jurek. And Scott won Western and he won Badwater. And those were close together and they were tight and they were great performances, but that's all he did. And I won this vote by 2 votes. And I was like, come on, man. I'm like, I have this thing like locked down, whatever, but I think that's a popularity thing. I didn't always get the respect I think that I deserved. And I'm fine with that. It's whatever, do I care? Not really. But But it's one of those things that back in the day, like, man, Karl just won Hard Rock. He broke the record by 3 hours. Karl won his 5th Hard Rock, and it was like, meh, you know. But that's where social media started kicking in and all that stuff. But I think at the end of the day, what was that?
I was just going to say, was it just a different time? You look back now and you could say, what factors could play into that? Was there just too much popularity? Was there too many runners? Like, or was was it a popularity contest? And, and those, some people just win more than others.
It was kind of a popularity contest. I think with Western States being the most popular race, and it still is, right? But
Mhm.
I mean, Hard Rock wasn't really like on the map yet. But I always wanted to go to Hard Rock because it was harder. It was more my style. I didn't race against Scott very often at all. I raced against Scott a couple times. He beat me at Hard Rock one year, so Scott was a champion at Hard Rock. He beat Karl, but I won, I think, 5 times. He won it once, but he beat me, So that was like, he definitely got the popularity vote, absolutely. And I'll always stand behind that comment because, like, I did a lot more than Scott did, but Western was more of a popular race. I mean, Hard Rock, I put it on the map and I won a bunch of times, so it wasn't Western. Western was just states. It was the big race. But I was like, I don't care about Western. I want to run Hard Rock because it's so much cooler. And the San Juans. Now I live here. There's a reason I live here because I love it. And these mountains are so different. Western is a fast race. I mean, the record's 14:09. It's crazy fast. I just kind of did my own thing, and again, I sort of slipped under the radar a lot, but I just sort of felt like, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm the guy laughing. I got a shoe named after me. Who's got our shoe named after him, right?
That's right.
Right?
Honestly. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think we both. I mean, even when Scott and I hang out, we laugh at it all because we're good friends now, and we laugh at we both had entirely different career paths through ultra running. He made it at Western. I sort of made my thing through Hard Rock, and my Appalachian Trail thing too was pretty big, And Scott went to the AT, but he got the record too. He had a chance to hold that record briefly too, but yeah, we just had different paths. We never really raced each other that much, and it's kind of like now we have. I should stop rambling, but Courtney and Katie will be at Hard Rock this year, right? And that's going to be probably the 2 best in the sport at the moment, women. And that's going to be, finally they get to race each other. When these girls when the best in the sport don't race each other, but they have these amazing performances, you still don't, the most popular guy wins the vote. Until those 2 race each other a number of times to see who really is better than the other guy, it's kind of a crapshoot of like, okay, well, he's got more followers on Instagram than I do. I mean, Scott Jurek has a lot more followers than I do, but that's not been my thing. I just do my runs, and I let my running speak for itself. And that's why you don't see me, massively on social media. I do a little bit, of course, but it's not my thing. It's other people that do the social stuff, and that's fine. But I hate to be called. I'll never be call myself an influencer. I hate that name. I hate an influencers. Anyway,
well, it speaks to
it's been a good ride,
longevity.
so I get nothing to complain about.
For sure, Karl, and it
Yeah,
speaks
I
to your
mean,
longevity.
I'm
It's
at
almost
30 years. I'm still
unwired.
running.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's been a long time, and not that many guys have been around other than Jeff Browning. There's a few others that have been around a long time, but longevity is cool. It's cool to be able to still do it.
So, what are your thoughts on now, like the rise of the 200 milers? Like, is that something that it's just like a totally
200,
different
200
like,
milers,
realm,
Karl.
or
It's calling your name.
I'm out. I've been asked it a lot of times. When are you going to run a 200? I'm like, you know what? I don't want to walk 200 miles. I mean, I know I'm going to jog some of it, but I did the AT, man. I did it 3 times. I did the pony. That was my 2,000 milers.
2,000 milers.
I want to get the 100 hundreds first, maybe who knows, when I'm 61, I'll say, oh, I'll go do Cocodona or I'll go do some 200. But honestly, I have this different focus in my head now, and I just want to get this first thing done now. And I think you're right, though. There's a lot of 200s now, and many people have said, hey, the 200 is the new 100. But I don't, not for me. I just think I'm past that phase. If I was younger, maybe I would be more into it. But and even Jeff Browning told me that, like, wow, 200 is so different dynamic. You sleep a little bit, you rest. I'm like, exactly. I mean, I did that on the AT. I did that for 45 days on the AT. I know what that feels like.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing to see what people are doing out there with the 200s, though. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's awesome to watch it. I watched Cocodona last year. I went and I paced Jesse Haynes. I ran with Jesse for a little while. And it is a different beast. I mean, Jesse was about a mile. He was around mile 100 when I was running with him or walking with him a lot. Yeah, it's a different ballgame. Whole different dynamic of the rest thing, the food thing. You're eating more real food, all that kind of stuff. So it's, at this point in my career, I don't think it's for me, but I commend. I mean, all those people that are doing it. I mean, the performances are getting out of hand. What people are doing. The guy Sorokin runs 200 miles in 24 hours. Like, that is off the chart. Amazing. So I love watching these guys do it, but for me, I think I'm out.
Well, that's it. And just to build on that, so ultra running has grown so much since the 90s, right? So how do you feel like,
Yeah.
how has that impacted the sport overall, in your opinion? Think it's a great thing? Do you think it's
Well,
like,
I mean,
okay, well,
I think it's a good thing that it grows. I think it's good to see a lot of people out there doing it. There's always going to be growing pains. The whole UTMB World Series things. I mean, every single race I see on social media, blah 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 by UTMB, blah 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 by UTMB, and that's totally cool. It kind of like makes the upper echelon of the sport compete against each other, And UTMB is the final. They call that the World Series, the biggest race of all, and it is now. I like to see that competition, but I still like to see the Devil Dog 100 and the Coldwater 100. I like to see those races be in the mix too. It's just like any other sport. It just has become popular because social media has made it popular. I think if there were no podcasts, if there were no Facebook and Instagram and all those things, we'd still be looking at Ultra Running magazine, at least in the US we would. It's good to see people out there doing it. And I think that's what's most important. It's not always about the upper echelon, but at a point it is about the upper echelon. I mean, in my day when I first got sponsored, I got free shoes, and then I got $500 a year. Then I got $1,000 a year. And I made $5,000, Nowadays it's professionalized. And even though those guys, I don't know what the upper echelon guys make, but I don't care, but it's becoming professionalized, and there's going to be growing pains, and there's going to be the drug testing growing pains and all that kind of stuff. And that's what we see happen in the next 10 years will be very interesting, because what will it really turn into? We'll turn into the world marathon majors that we see in the road marathon thing, where they're winning $150,000, $200,000 to win these races now, and especially the East African or anyone from the less affluent countries. Those guys can win. One guy from Ethiopia comes in, he wins $200,000. That's like me winning $3 million probably. It's like really cool to see those guys, to see the best of the best come into the sport, and we'll see where they come into that whole mix. When Bill Rodgers and Frank Schulter were the best, and now the East Africans come in, and now there's 55 guys that run 205. Crazy, right? Will they come to the ultramarathon scene? Probably someday, maybe in 10 years, but that'll be the next step of like, how fast can these guys really go? Seeing Hard Rock record at 21:30 now, that is insane how fast that is. I mean, I saw Ludo run last year, and it's right down the road, and he ran like 22 and a half or something, but that is insanely fast over these mountains. It's crazy.
They're getting so fast.
It's
You're
just
right,
going to
Karl.
get better. I mean, like any sport, they get bigger and better, and it's just gonna how it evolves. And I love to see the guys going faster. I love to watch it, and I'm glad I don't have to deal with it anymore because the training is tough and it's hard to be that good. Yeah, it's cool.
So, Karl, now that you have that 100 coming in real quick here, your 100 miler, do we know what that race is going to be? Do you already have one picked out for the 100?
I do. I hope that it's going to be Hard Rock in 2027. But as we all know, Hard Rock is not, even though I've won it 5 times, I don't just get in the race. So I will enter it like everyone else does, and whether I get in the race or not is what it is, right? I'll definitely make it known that it's my 100th, and I'll definitely make it known that it's my 10th Hard Rock finish if I get in. Where that goes, I don't know. I'm not the kind of guy that goes out to schmooze people or that kind of thing. But if it's not Hard Rock, it will be Wasatch 100, which was my very first 100. And I will get in Wasatch because I have a previous winner. They have a rule there. Previous winners automatically get in. So I will get in Wasatch if I don't get in Hard Rock. And the Wasatch Lottery is a month after Hard Rock, so I'll know, like, okay, I didn't get a Hard Rock, I'll enter Wasatch, and boom, I'll be in. So I think I want it to be Hard Rock because that's the race that escalated my career. But at the same time, it's cool if it's Wasatch because that would be the bookend. That was my first ultramarathon, right? And for it to be my 100th 100 would be also very cool. And that's kind of where it started for me too. So it'll be either one of those as long as I stay healthy. But I'm hoping that if I can have 98 done before the end of this year, then all I need is to do one in the spring, and then I have all summer to just be ready for one of those two. That's my hope.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Hopefully it'll be one of the, hopefully I really want it to be Hard Rock, but we'll see.
Karl, is there any chance that, late in an ultra, when we try to do math, that we could be off a little bit? Is there a chance you've actually already run 100 hundreds, but you just forgot a couple of them? The old trail math.
Jamil Corey will call me out on that. I've DNF'd 14 times. So, I regret DNFing now, right? Because I would have more. I would have 100 by now. But
absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I've got the number down pretty good. I know that I'm definitely I'm on target now. And like I said, Jamil called me out on the streak thing when I had 18 or 19 because I was wrong. He was right. I was wrong. I thought it was 20 and it was actually 18. But yeah, no, I've got it, pegged exactly. I'm definitely at 92.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good. Well, Karl, like we always appreciate this time with you. Thank you so much for coming on again for the second time around here to the RUNEGADE Podcast. I guess in closing, I do have so many other questions for you, but I know our new listeners always.
We can do another one,
Thank you. Well, we'll maybe
right away.
leading up to getting close here. Yeah, definitely. What are you doing this time next year? For a new runner, maybe not a new runner, but the first moving into ultra running, they're like leaning into moving past just marathons. What would be the best bit of advice you could give somebody who's now going to move into the world of ultra?
Well, just remember that, I mean, in simple terms, the best advice I can give for a new ultra runner is that respect the distance. It's hard. It's not just because you run a marathon, I even say 3 hours, which is a great time for a marathon, right? Say you run a marathon 3 or 4 hours, but ultras are a little different. You have to just remember that it's between your head. Remember that, this is a Dave Horton line too, not even a Karl Meltzer line, but it doesn't always get worse. You can feel like shit at mile 20, but you can come around if you keep yourself, you got to keep your shit together. And I tell myself that a lot too, is like, just keep your shit together, Karl, and you'll get it done. It takes longer. You're going to move slower. You can't worry about what your split times are. Granted, if there's finishing cutoff, sure, you got to look. But at the same time, don't worry so much about the watch. It's running ultras is so much on feel and what your body feels like throughout the race or even in your training that it overwhelms all the, the speed work you've done or the hill work you've done and the repeats and all those things. It's so much between your ears. You can do it. It doesn't matter how fast or slow you are. And that the real heroes of ultra running are not the guys that win all the time. It's the rest of the people. It's the rest of the people that you see. Go watch an ultra. Go work at an aid station. Go see what the leaders do with their food. Go see what the back of the pack does with their food. Watch others, learn from it, I mean, I can give you a million, you can talk to me for 2 hours on the phone of like, eat this, do that. But ultimately, going to watch something, learn by doing, go watch what other people do. I tell my clients all the time that I coach, my athletes that I coach, is that, go work an aid station. Just go work an aid station and watch what people do. Some people fumble around and they're there for 25 minutes and they've made no progress. But then some people are very efficient and very good at what they do. So they're in and they make sure they get their shit done and then they keep moving forward. And that's what you want to watch for. That's what you want to be good at, is not sitting down and chatting. It's not a selfie contest. It's not a buffet. It's not a social media look at me, because I've had a few of my clients that said, look at me with their phone, and then they missed their cutoff. And I say, why did you miss your cutoff? Well, I did a couple selfies in the bluebell flowers. I'm like, well, there you go. And just respect the distance and learn that you can do it. It doesn't matter how fast or slow you are. It is possible, because most of the people that you see finish 100 milers or even shorter racers ever don't necessarily look like a runner, Not everybody's 125 pounds, 5'9", 120, you know what I mean? Not everybody's like that. A lot of the elite runners are like that, sure, but 95% of the people, 98% of the people just look like regular human beings, and we can all do it. You've got to put it between your ears and just remember that it doesn't always get worse. And just blink and the damn thing will be over. You watch.
Great.
That's all I got.
No, that's perfect. Thank you so much, Karl. Love it.
You're welcome.
100%. Really appreciate you being here with us tonight. So thank you so much.
Yeah, always welcome to come back, man. You guys are great.
And we thank you for listening to the Renegade Podcast. Each episode, we dare to practice the lost art of conversation to better understand this thing we call life and the human connection that we have with running and endurance sport. If you enjoy the Renegade Podcast, could we ask for a favor? Head on over to our YouTube and click subscribe. And like our podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Your engagement helps keep the Renegade Podcast growing and going. If you have a show idea, a comment, we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email, runegadepodcast@gmail.com. That's RUNEGADE podcast@gmail.com. We have a great list of guests coming up that we're looking forward to sharing another conversation with you. Head on over to our link tree, check out our sponsors, our friends of the podcast. We have great discount codes that, thanks to them, they're offering you, the Renegade listeners, to save some money on the best running gear, apparel, fuel, and nutrition. We thank you for listening. And remember, in a world of runners, be a renegade.